Hey everyone, welcome back to Prioritization Sports. As a follow-up to some recent videos, I'm going to discuss some strategy and tips for arbitrage betting. And while I'm really focusing on arbitrage today, pretty much all of this can apply to middles as well. I'm also not going to go into too much arbitrage in detail specifically, like explaining what it is. But if you want to learn more about it, I have a video that really dives into it that I did recently. The link for that is in the video description. So some background, I've bet on arbs and middles for a while now, most of which was spent manually searching through the books for opportunities, and I did really well with it. When I discovered OddsJam, though, I couldn't imagine not having that as a resource moving forward now that something like that's available. It really takes it to another level. What OddsJam really does, as you've seen in some previous videos, it consolidates all these markets and identifies these opportunities for you, sends you email alerts when these opportunities arise. So really could not make it any easier. For more info on OddsJam, check out my channel for some other videos. And if you're interested in checking it out for a free trial, please use my link in the video description. And there's also a promo code there for you as well. Okay, so first off, we'll talk about the prioritization of different arbitrage opportunities. So first and foremost, you want to prioritize your main market. So money line, spread total, whether that's full game, half, quarter, etc. Books expect to see volume on those markets. That's where they expect to see a lot of the money wagered. So you should be able to bet more, generally speaking, compared to a player prop or an alt market, alt line, things like that. Also wouldn't stand out nearly as much as your account ever were to be reviewed. So generally speaking, it's a little bit safer in terms of arbing if you are concerned about getting limited. So for the same, if I'm offered the same percentage opportunity, I'm going to go with the money line, the spread, whatever that is, that main market opportunity over a prop. Secondly, just be smart about wagers on alt markets and player props. Don't abuse it. That's more of a way to get limited depending on your actions with it. If you only bet player props and you bet them significantly, maybe that can be a different story. I would just try to tread a little bit more lightly with the props in the alt markets compared to the main markets. That's just based on things that I've learned and seen over my time doing executing these kind of strategies. And lastly, prioritize and stay ready for those higher percent return opportunities. You never know when they're going to come up. They can come at any time of day. Anytime a book is posting a line, changing a line, things like that, these things can pop. And you want to make sure you're ready to go when they happen. Each bet really has an opportunity cost. If you throw a ton of bets out on 1 to 3%, yeah, you're making some profit. But if it means that you miss out on a 5, 7, 10% one, even greater, you're going to regret that. And you just want to be able to make sure you have some capital at all times. So even though you can obviously make money doing it, just make sure you're always ready for a higher percent return. You never know when they're going to come up, but especially with football, hockey, basketball season coming up. I know I'm talking about this in August right now, so it's really just baseball, a little bit of tennis, some NFL preseason. But once football, you get basketball, hockey, baseball still going with the playoffs all in full swing. There's going to be a lot of markets that are able to be bet on. And the more markets that are going on, the more changes that are being made, the more opportunities there could be. So stay ready for that. Make sure you prioritize. Obviously, execute your strategy, whatever works for you. But this is just my suggestion here as far as what I've seen. Make sure you're ready for those. You don't want to miss those big opportunities. They really make a difference in your overall bankroll. Okay, so next we'll talk about trying to avoid sportsbook imposed limits. I know a lot of people are interested in this as when they're weighing trying to get into arbitrage betting. So quick disclaimer before I get into any of the specifics. This is all entirely my opinion. I don't have any inside information as far as how sportsbooks determine how they impose their limits. These are just some ideas I use to try to make my account look normal and not raise any red flags. And it's just all what I've formed based on what I've personally experienced and what I've seen in the sports betting community. So the first one's going to sound really basic, but round your bets. Bet an even amount like $200 or 205, 210, 225, something like that, as opposed to betting $217.92. One of those is going to look strange, especially the 200. Betting to the penny. It's going to look strange if you do it repeatedly. So I would just try to avoid that. I don't know if it makes a difference, but just a red flag might be raised based on betting really odd amounts pretty consistently. And don't take that as you need to be paranoid if you've done this in the past. I've done it plenty of times and my accounts are still going. It's just something that's like a preventative measure that I think is easy enough to implement. Secondly, looking like a normal or average bettor. So as we all know, sports books offer a ton of, especially the U.S. regulated ones, FanDuel, DraftKings. They offer a ton of positive EV promotions, especially the sign-up promotions. They invest heavily in their marketing to attract as many bettors as possible, and they prioritize a casual bettor. So the more you can look like a casual bettor to the sports book, the better off you will be, and the longer you'll be able to avoid these limits. And again, this is totally personal opinion and all. I do mix in some parlays related to what I'm betting on. So like during football season, when I have a lot of football arbs, I throw in like, a little teaser or a parlay or, something like that, just straight bet on whatever money line team, but not for a crazy amount, just like, the more fun bet. So they think that that you're not doing anything crazy here. Maybe you're going by some kind of, statistical analysis or something like that to get your bets. Taking odds boost, other promotions that you might perceive to be positive EV, just mixing those in to not only be capitalizing on ARBs and potentially bad lines from them. That's going to make your account look a certain way if they're reviewing it. Lastly here, make your bets make sense. Don't burn through your account every day. This is a mistake I've made in the past, which I'll get into a second. But like if you start with, let's say, $1,000 on a given sports book, don't make your bet size $1,000. That's going to look obvious if you win or lose that first bet and then you bet your entire balance again. That kind of looks strange, especially if you at the end of the day are withdrawing, depositing a lot. It's just not going to look normal. So again, if you're starting with $1,000, maybe make your bet size like 10% of that, but just try to make it make sense a little bit, and again, try to raise as few red flags as possible. And going back to that last point I just made on don't burn through your account every day. This is the mistake I made on MGM and why I'm really limited there now. So when they went live in Pennsylvania, I was really reckless with the arbing that I was doing on it. I was going through my account probably close to twice a day. Just as bets settled, I rebet them. And I was just going through it like kind of stupidly, honestly. And that my account didn't last very long. And MGM set some really nice lines for arbitrage betting. I get the alerts all the time, and MGM's in a good chunk of them. So the longer you can keep that MGM account open, the better off you'll be. And I would probably tread a little more lightly than usual on the player props there. They seem to be very sensitive to that, especially if you're betting a decent amount. Okay, so last key topic I'm going to get into here is having a plan and sticking to it. So thing is, these opportunities don't last long. So the more decisions you already have made before even seeing this opportunity come up in your email account, or if you're on the OddsJam dashboard, the better off you're going to be and the more bets of this type you're going to get in. So if you can identify if there's a bad line, like on this side here, the Aaron Judge over 0.5 at plus 180 for total hits in a game. If you're familiar with the market, you'll know that's a mistake. So in this case, I'm able to just go into DraftKings first and make sure I get that side in. Even if I don't get the plus 185 on the other side, I know that under is going to be plus money at some other site. So, I was able to just put in the DraftKings and then find the best price to hedge it, a couple minutes after that. And again, only having to open up that one book and validate that's there saved me a ton of time, and I was able to get that bet in. Whereas if I had to validate that MGM or one other site had that plus 185 or that huge plus number, I might have lost the DraftKings side in that minute. Next up, familiarizing yourself with each sportsbook's layout. Again, same thing. If you know where to find the total hits market on DraftKings and MGM, you're going to be faster than some people who are, scrambling, trying to figure it out for themselves. Again, whether that works better for you on your phone, on your laptop, or whatever you have, figure out what works best for you. Start small, increase your bets as you build your bankroll and your comfort level with the strategy. But again, the more decisions that you're making in those couple minutes, the tougher it's going to be to get a lot of these bets, especially the good ones. So the more you have that plan, stick to that plan, kind of understand what you're betting on each side, how to get to that same payout, like use the arbitrage calculator if you need it. It's available on OnJam. Some other sites have it as well. But again, using that is great, but it does take up time. So if you can get comfortable enough to where you don't need that calculator, you're able to kind of figure out what that perfect hedge is, or an approximate perfect hedge in that second, again, you're going to be able to get some more in relative to if you're spending 15, 30 seconds trying to figure out what to bet on each side. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. Thanks as always for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, or send me an email if there's any strategies or content you're looking to see, any questions you have. I'm happy to dive into anything you guys are specifically interested in. Again, if you're interested in OddsJam, check out the video description for some information on a free trial and that promo code. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time.